let's see. On the topic of leadership, what was the last event that you had gone to that you were thrust into a leadership role? Like for me, I know these are the top three things that I've had. I've been an impromptu wedding reception MC, an impromptu eulogy, and an impromptu toast.
Wow. Train wreck, huge success.
My wife is poking me in the elbows. And, oh my God, he's dying up there. Get up there, do something.
Bless you for doing that, because it is tough. How about you, David?
I'm not good in that situation. I will admit it. I'm the person that's sitting there going, well, someone should take over and take charge of this. Anyone?
I've seen you.
Michael, go for it. Or no, I'm the person that goes, says, would somebody like to take over and manage this? And I'll go, yeah, I think Michael should do it.
Yeah, you're the guy. Yeah.
I'm that guy.
Sometimes I don't know if you're thrust into it as opposed to there's an opportunity and you just step up into it. And I walk into the room and it's a 21-year-old engineer and it's a 28-year-old engineer who had never used this system before. I'm like, what are we doing? And I'm like, I look around and I go, I guess it's me. This was a multi-million-dollar project, and I'm just like, how do we not have like the senior engineer here who's going to be giving us direction on this? When somebody puts you in a position that's something that you have to learn in, take it and just be open to feedback. Honestly, I think that's probably been one of the reasons that I've been most successful is I'm just willing to do that. And a lot of people are so worried about being wrong or not doing it right. And I'm like, this could be a train wreck, but the only way I'm going to find out is if you tell me. It is a train wreck. Okay, where are the parts that I need to fix so it doesn't crash again? For those people out there who are in LACE that are just beginning, we recommend that you stay with Toastmasters. You can use it in the actual real world. Yeah, you can. Just ask these guys. Wait, try to get my finger pointing right.
Him. It's the Brady Bunch, right? What was the last time that you presented at a workshop and something went wrong?
So the first one that comes to mind for me was I was the MC of a women's conference. They booked someone who is like the belly dancing for energy. And for me, that's perfect. So I loved it. I was up there and I'm belly dancing. She's like, I'm like, oh, I'm getting cramps in places where probably as a male, I should not be getting cramps. But I'm just saying. But the next speaker was a grief counselor. So, her story was about, death of her child. It was such an abrupt shift. So the transition from the belly dancers to her, the MC piece, wasn't so bad. But when she was finished, literally the room was in tears. I remember standing there going, okay, my normal thing is to crack a joke. And I go, it is not appropriate to crack a joke right now.
Too soon?
Too soon!
Way too soon.
Let me tell my Lincoln jokes. And so I remember sitting there, and I think that's one of the things that, again, that I'll give a shout out to Toastmasters for, is it teaches you to take that moment, that breath. And I remember I took that breath, and I just went, I wanted to say thank you for everyone for sharing in this moment. I know this is very emotional for a lot of you, and to have the courage to get up here in front of a room of strangers and be able to share, some of the pain you are in, understand that this helps people. And I said, with everybody going here, I think we should let's just take a 5-minute break and for everybody, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes and begin again. And that wasn't on the schedule, but it was just one of those reading the room moments that I think is just so important from learning how to do this. And then I had this woman come up to me and go, "You are the best MC I've ever seen." And I'm like, okay, I want to understand why you said that to me. He says, well, I thought you were good. You were making light and you're making everybody laugh. But when you took that moment, the serious moment, I realized that you really knew how to manage the room. And I was like, thank you, because I don't do a lot of emceeing. And so in that moment to be recognized for that, and I would say the reason that went well, I honestly give it to Toastmasters, because those moments where you're asked to do things impromptu.
David, have you ever had it where your laptop or something just went the way of the dodo, didn't work?
I was trying to think of a time when everything did go right.
True, that's very good.
It was 1973. I was 7 years old.
No, it hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting for it to happen. They're the funniest times only afterwards, not at that time.
Every event that I have been to, something has gone wrong. I've had it where the laptop was working just fine, but the projector died. So I got a room of 28 people, and they're looking at the screen, but the screen's not working. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just take this. And I saw a banker's box on the ground. I brought it up, put it on there, and put my laptop on the top. So we had 28 executives looking at this tiny little laptop screen. I continue my presentation.
In homage to comedian Jeff Foxworthy, who made the famous jokes, "You might be a redneck," here are a few "you might be a bad leader" jokes. If you are in the front of the mob with a torch and a pitchfork, you might be a bad leader. If you're the prominent person in the pack of people running away from the monster in a movie, you might be a bad leader. If you're unwilling to adapt to the situation, you might be a bad leader. If you lack the moral integrity and flip-flop on every decision, you might be a bad leader. If you're not focused on the future and not demonstrating a clear plan for how to continuously improve, you might be a bad leader. If you take credit for when things go right and blame everyone else when things go wrong, you might be a bad leader.
When were you recognized for something that you just didn't do? And how did you handle it? Like they're congratulating you. Thanks so much for doing. You did a great job. And you're like, oh, that wasn't me.
I'm worried that you're going to see my resume. There was a team of 30 people, but this was the face of the software, because I was training everybody. And I had people go, "Oh, this software is fantastic. You have done a fantastic." I'm like, yes, I have. Like, there's all these software engineers, like, testers. We got all kinds of engineers, people. I'm like, yes, thank you. I feel very good about it. It had nothing to do with the 30-odd people on our team. I'm the one who did it all. I'm just the guy who was able to explain it to everybody. So, and actually, that's really how my resume is built. My ability to take credit for other people's hard work.
Recognition is more than just a pat on the back. It's also a pat on the ego. While we are not here to judge, we all seem to have a gavel. So enjoy these candid comments on recognition. If you can't say something nice, get off social media, you stupid moron. Thank you for the recognition of all my hard work, but I truly appreciate less recognition and a ton more of help. You can do 100 things right, and someone will still point out the one thing you did wrong. Don't be that person. There's no I in team, but there are 5 I's in brilliant individual. Tell me what I did right. I'm already beating myself up over all the things that I did wrong. To the person that invented the number 0, thanks for nothing. Big goose egg. Zilch, nada, nothing.
So feedback, that is our category. Feedback. What's your favorite feedback sandwich method? Club sandwich? Ham on rye?
I like mine plain.
Plain
Just
feedback.
give me 2 slices of I have said 2 slices of meat, 2 slices of bread.
It's the Atkins feedback. It's all protein
Atkins
all the
feedback.
time.
We skip all the good stuff and we get right to tearing you apart.
Oh, that's the Speakers Bureau.
Oh, that's right. So for me, it's very situational. If I am talking to someone who's been in Toastmasters for 20 years, I'm not going to be like, you know what you did well. I'm going to be like, okay, here's the 3 things you do well that everybody can learn from. If you're looking for an improvement opportunity, this is the thing that I would focus on if I were you. Most of the times I say, use some vocal variety because everybody loves some vocal variety. Yes, yes. What? So what about you, David? What's your favorite feedback method?
Tend to add too much. I want to tell them everything. So maybe it's called the fire hose method. Here's what I think, and all I can fit in 3 minutes.
I like the fire hose method. Here, just take this all in.
For those who are like polished speakers, what I really try to emphasize is what everyone could learn from it. Everyone, I would like you to remember, did you feel how connected you were with this speaker when they told the story and the richness of it? This is what you should aspire to. This is what great speakers are able to do. They're able to take their point. They're able to give you a great story that sucks you in, and then they get you at the end, they're and you feel that sense of it. That's what we're all looking for. I really like that phraseology that Toastmasters recommends, is that, what would have worked better for me is if you did this, this, or this. I was expecting this to happen and it didn't. So that's feedback that I always like to hear. I'm like, oh, that is good. But my favorite thing is when people give me another punchline. Oh, that's my favorite. I'm like, ooh, thank you. That I can incorporate.
Yeah, some of the best speeches are not written, they're rewritten. And sometimes I have timed a 6-minute speech and it runs to 8 minutes. Like, how's that happen? Well, I had not planned for all the laughter.
What really sucks is when you plan on the laughter and it's like, and everybody's like,
yeah, cricket.
oh.
Can I feel your pulse? You still out there? You alive?
You know what the toughest thing is for me is not to comment on it.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I'm like, look, I got this thing timed down to the second. If I try to go off on a tangent, forget it. I'm in trouble. Well, one of the things that's always the most challenging, I think, in speech writing would be is the editing process. It really is that distilling. I have to take this rich idea and then I must distill it down to its essence. It's like you're cooking. Hey, look, here it is, a fabulous sauce that I've made. But you really have to work on that, and the only way you get that really is from great feedback.
Over the years, we've received some good and honest feedback. Feel free to use any of these candid comments for your next evaluations.
As our first speaker, you didn't need any introduction. You definitely needed a conclusion, though.
You're the only lawyer I know that can give a 42-minute presentation and call it a brief.
When nothing is going right, go left. Hitting people over the head with redundant and obvious points is considered audience assault.
When you say my drinking team has a bowling problem, that's like saying my audience has a listening problem. Your introduction was a bit hokey pokey, but thankfully, by the conclusion, you turned yourself around.
What's the funniest video conference or video conference snafu that you have seen?
Probably everyone's done this one, unless it's just me, but I know I remember somebody was on mute and they were talking and I started yelling at them, on mute, you're on mute, you're on mute. And then I realized, of course, I'm on mute.
Yes, I have done that. I do remember one time on video conference call. This is, I think, about 10 years ago when, they're just starting to get out. We were on with an HR person who's going through her whole routine of, talking about things that are going on. And she didn't have an external camera. She had the little camera lens in the top of the laptop lid, and she didn't know it was on. And she had her dog in her lap, and she's working from home and petting her dog, and dog's licking her face and everything. She's having a good time. And then at the very end of the call, we're saying, "Oh, it's so good that you can work from home, and good that you have such a good, friendly relationship with your dog." She had no idea her camera was on. We're like, okay. So
love your pets, just don't love your pets. Mine is more the children, and then mostly my son, because he's like, I want something. Dad, I'm on a call. Yeah, but Dad, I'm working. But yeah, I got that. But Dad, call child services, because, it's just like, son, I'm working. Oh, like literally my wife has to come like grab him and pull him away. He's dead. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's not working, Dad. You're yelling, you're making jokes or cracking jokes all day long. That's not working. But Dad, I need to.
Right.
What is it that they wanted after all that?
Go make me a sandwich now.
Zoom fatigue is a medical diagnosis for someone suffering from too many online video conference calls. Here are some observations about Zoom fatigue a la Andy Rooney.
Do you ever feel that your video conference is like being on Hollywood Squares? Yes, Tom, I will take "You're on mute" for the block.
Are you tired of looking into a coworker's nose or your boss's forehead because they don't know how to position the camera lens?
Have you ever noticed that the last person to arrive at your conference call is late and telecommuting from their bedroom?
Do you ever get tired of hearing background sounds like dishes being washed and toilets being flushed? Don't they know there's a mute button? Are you tired of explaining to the millennials how video chats are like the Brady Bunch? And their snappy response, "Okay, boomer."
If you don't know who the Brady Bunch are, ask a baby boomer. And if you don't know what the reference to "Okay, boomer" is, ask a millennial. Have you ever noticed that no matter what time your Zoom meeting starts, a gardener will show up outside with their leaf blower?
What was the last training you received where you were totally lost? Besides this one.
Yeah,
Have you learned how to laugh yet? Do you understand anything yet? This is funny. No, yeah. When did you see a demonstration that was technically your training? Because I've had that. Sometimes people sit there and it's a complicated process, and they'll go through. It's 30 to 40 steps. And we'll say, okay, well, you click here, do that, do that, do that, do that. There, you got it. Now you're trained. Huh? No. I need to understand the why. And why are we filling that out? And what's the purpose of this? And what happens if I put the wrong value in there? What's the most common thing that we need to fix on this? That's the type of training I'm used to. But nowadays, it's just like, oh, here, you can watch this video. Now you know how to do it. Like, yeah, no, I've watched you do it. Yeah, now I need to actually do it.
But this is the only reason I have a job, is because that's the problem I solve. I'm like, there are so many people who are brilliant at making software, but should never explain it to anyone.
True. Very true.
I've been in so many classes, I cannot tell you how many people who are like, okay, click here, you 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 click here, and you're like, like, I didn't design this. This is the first time I'm seeing it. You lost me at click here to this point, and I will just, to all the people that are out there training, if you're not aware of it, it's like, if I can't explain it at a freshman level, we don't know it well enough. And so my thinking is always, if I'm training something, it is to keep it very, very simple, because The people who are fast will be able to go through it quickly, and they won't mind, especially when you're doing like a computer-based training. You just click through it quickly. I got it. But the people who need time can take their time. So I have to say, like, I've been through those things, and I would just like to say I highly recommend that you not do that. Instead, you take your time and say, okay, here, and if you click over here, you're going to get this error. And if you get this error, this is how you fix it. Like those kind of pieces on it. So I know what you're talking about. I'm feeling the pain of some of the.
I usually say, explain it to me like a Labrador Retriever.
Oh, good boy. Oh, good boy. Michael's good boy. Michael's good boy.
Oh, good boy. A Labrador Retriever is always happy and laughing and going, oh, yeah. I'll do that. Sure. I'll learn that.
To be serious on that point there, though, it's like if you want.
What, us serious?
I know. There's a sudden twist.
Doing something different now?
I'm trying something different. That's right. Let's try to be serious here, gentlemen.
Okay.
What I would just say is I have a friend, my college roommate ended up playing 13 seasons in the NFL. And one of the things he said was he walked in as, teach me. Teach me. I want to learn. I want to learn everything I can from you. And if you walk in with those kind of attitudes as opposed to I know or whatever, it's like I'm going to walk in like I don't know anything. I want you to explain everything down to me to the details. That's the way I like. And to be open-minded and not prejudging thing is such a powerful thing for you to do as a person experiencing the training.
So true.
Sorry, I took a serious turn there. You started with all the jokies about the Labrador, and I took it in a serious turn.
That was very good, very good.
Well, you're a point.
He is the good boy. You were the good boy. You were the good boy. Oh, there you go. Is that the front end or the back end? Oh, the front end. Okay, good. You're choking the dog. Oh my God.
Somebody call PETA.
They're on their. You hear them? They're out your door right now.
I wish to be involved. You were talking about Labrador Retrievers. What about me? What about me? I'm cute and fuzzy.
Yes, you are. With humor, everybody says, "Teach me humor. I can be funny. Teach me to be funny." And humor is so subjective, and it's something that I think is funny. You may not think it's funny. In fact, people are probably offended by this whole session, but that's okay. And if you're offended by it, turn it off. Yeah. For the rest of you, turn it up.
I would like to say I think that should be the opening credits. All right, everyone. Leaders ought to laugh. If you like it, turn it up. If you don't like it, turn it off. Like that's the subtitle.
I like that. That's good. We'll use that. And print.
As long as the dog makes it in.
People sometimes ask, why do I have to attend officers training again if I attended the last time?
I will answer that question with another question. Why do athletes have to train today if they trained yesterday?
Enjoy these fun facts about training.
It's a little known fact that Anakin Skywalker became evil in the 6th grade.
Failing to train is training to fail.
I know why Anakin Skywalker crossed the road. He wanted to go to the
Dark side. I've never heard someone say, I wish I was less well prepared for this.
It's a little known fact that Anakin Skywalker's favorite food is Darth chocolate. How does that relate to training? I don't know. I joined Toastmasters to overcome my fear of public speaking, and I stayed to work on my fear of everything else.